Hi, I'm Rochelle Lamond, and I'm a deliverance minister with Amadis Deliverance Ministry. This series of videos are designed to help you understand what deliverance is and how it can, through God's power, break chains, curses, and other types of demonic oppression in your life. This video is titled, The Ahab Spirit. If you haven't watched the video titled, The Jezebel Spirit, I encourage you to go back and watch that one first, and then come back and view this one. It'll make more sense. In the last video, The Jezebel Spirit, we talked about why it's called this and refer back to 1 Kings 18. We talked about the Jezebel Spirit and some of the characteristics of the person who is controlled by that spirit. So what is an Ahab person, and how do we know that they're being controlled by a demonic spirit? In 1 Kings 16, 30 and 31, we read the story of King Ahab. It says he did evil in the sight of God and then married Jezebel, the daughter of the king of Tyre. After marrying Jezebel, he decided to leave the religious decisions to his wife, and in doing so, he relinquished his spiritual authority and responsibilities. Jezebel was a follower of Baal and other pagan gods. In her zeal to rid Israel of all the influence of God, she began to eradicate God's holy servants, starting with the priests. King Ahab did nothing to stop her, and in fact encouraged her wicked ways. So in reading this, we get a bit of insight into the characteristics of the Ahab person. Here are some of the characteristics of an Ahab. Usually an introvert, passive, avoids conflicts at all cost, people pleaser, low self-esteem, a martyr, wants to be accepted and will take blames for things they have not done to keep the peace and be accepted, channel rage and frustration internally, never defend themselves, appear like good Christian people but have poor boundaries, often play the victim role, self-delusional, often tell themselves that things are just fine when in fact situations at home, in church, and at work are often chaotic, sulks, lazy, careless, irresponsible, insecure, self-centered, workaholic, alcoholic, drug addiction, greedy, depressed, and emotionally unstable. The Ahab person is usually a man, but in rare cases can be a woman. The Ahab person is usually married, and generally to a Jezebel person. It is true that opposites attract, and in this case, that may be so, for a Jezebel person usually chooses the weak, mild-mannered spouse, the Ahab person. This relationship becomes codependent very quickly, as both spouses feed off each other in order to gain their goals and cement their authority base. The Ahab man often gives up his authority over the home in order to keep the peace with the stronger Jezebel woman. The principle of godly headship in the home is completely abolished. The Ahab person wants to please their spouse, which is impossible, but most of all, they want to keep any truces in place, so they will go to great lengths to belittle and efface themselves and play the victim in the marriage. I know I've seen many marriages that could be described this way. I grew up knowing several households that were not godly households, and the Jezebel and Ahab spirits were present. I have one memory in particular. The house was always disruptive because sometimes the husband was in control and sometimes the wife was in control. The kids never knew what was going on, and there was always a back and forth emotional tidal wave of distrust, deceit, and confusion. I remember that it made me very uncomfortable, but at the time I didn't know why. Now, drawing on my knowledge of the Ahab and Jezebel spirits, I can see what was behind the chaos in that home. Together and separately, the Ahab and Jezebel people cause havoc in congregations, homes, and lives of others. Here's a list of things that can help you in dealing with these demonically controlled people. 1. Pray for the person or people earnestly and consistently. Ephesians 6:18 and 2 Thessalonians 1:11. 2. Surrender to God completely and put your trust in Him. Psalms 115:11. Psalms 56:11. 3. Resist what is wrong. Stand for what is right and holy. James 4:7 and 1 Peter 5:9. Put on your armor, all of it, every day. Ephesians 6:11 and 12. 5. Pray Psalms 91 over your entire life. 6. Keep your total being, body, soul, and spirit focused on God and listen for his instructions. Matthew 10:20 and Mark 12:30. 7. Find someone, spiritual leader, spirit-led friend, pastor, someone who has discernment, who can mentor you in this situation. 8. If a deliverance minister or team is available to you, talk with them about what you're experiencing. Allow them to minister to you. I know that the subject of the last 2 videos was a bit deeper than we have gone before, but this is the real thing. Remember, we fight not against flesh and blood, but against the realm of darkness. Part of that fight is to educate ourselves in the realm of darkness, the reality of what we're dealing with in this fight. Make no mistake, we are in a fight, and it's up to you whether you decide to go armed and shielded or show up on the battlefield in your pajamas and slippers. If you have any more questions, or if you believe that you need deliverance, I'd love to talk to you. You can reach me at Rochelle@AmadisMinistries.com. Reach out, and I'll return your email just as soon as possible.